Hi everyone, today I'll be showing you all how I make some fun and adorable little polymer clay heart canes that you can use for various purposes such as standalone decor, patterns as veneers, beads, or just hearts you can dangle and hang onto your wall. So let's get started. These are the colors I'm going to use: pretty soft reds, berry, and dreamy pinks. I made using scrap clay from a previous project, but I can put more details on the mix in the description as well as ratios as always. I'm starting off by making a simple Skinner blend using soft red and white. I debated on whether or not to completely cut out the footage of me making my blends because I do have a step-by-step video on how to make Skinner blends, but I thought to keep them just because technique evolves with time and seeing something familiar in a video tutorial sometimes make the project seem more doable. One polymer clay tip I have for you is that when you make your gradients, keep in mind some colors are more softer than others, especially light colors like white. So what will normally happen is the white will get more soft, runny, and squishy, causing the shape to get uneven. But here I compensated for that by switching out Primo White for Kato White because Kato is a firmer clay. I know clay has been harder to buy these days, but whenever I go to Scopey's official site and sign up for email alerts to notify me when a clay is back in stock, I usually get a notification within a week. Now that my gradient sheet is blended, I'm folding it in half to make it skinnier, and then I run this through my machine, first through setting 0, starting from lightest to darkest clay, and then I run it through 2 more times using setting 3, then finally setting 6 until I get it really thin. Next, you want to roll it up, starting with the color you want at the center to create a neat little bullseye cane that you will then reduce to close up any air gap so that it is a workable size. After you've reduced your cane, you want to pinch it up to make it more of an oval. Keep in mind that the reason why this cane looks not only smaller in size, but also in mass is because I cut off a section from the previous bullseye cane. Just wanted to point that out in case some of y'all like-minded folks and detail-oriented peeps notice that. Don't worry, I got you. You can follow the ratios in the description and adjust however you need and desire. Next, you want to divide your cane into 3 equal pieces and then line them up side by side. Compress and squish the pieces together. Put more focus on pinching the ends. Depending on how you fold this cane, you can get various options as you can see with these blue prototypes. You want to bend the cane into a rainbow shape. Then have the ends of the cane meet closer and closer while keeping an eye on the center to ensure that the gap in the middle also gets closed up. Compress the pieces and clean up the sides. Then you want to reduce your cane to close up any gaps of air between the layers. And then finally, cut your little heart cane in half, and then connect the halves together for your completed heart. Next, with the magical wave of your hands, quickly generate a white and pink blend, which you then turn into a heart cane as well. You also want to do the same thing for a pretty berry pink and white heart cane. Of course, these hearts follow the same exact steps as the red heart, just slightly different Skinner blends. Next, you have the option of adding a border around your heart, and this is totally up to personal preference. I just think it adds additional contrast, especially once you get to the smaller sizes. And here's what they look like as standalone hearts. You can use them just like this, punch some holes into them, and hang them up on your wall to enjoy or as table decor. It's really up to you what you want to do with them. But also, let me show you guys how to turn these into lovely heart tiles and then into patterns. First, you want to take a sheet of light colored clay like this dreamy pink and cut multiple rectangular strips that you will stack one on top of another, being careful to minimize gaps of air. This is my quick way of making a solid rectangular cane. This trick comes in handy for a lot of cane packing projects. After compressing and reducing the rectangular cane, Cut a square out of it, and with that square, choose one point and give it some good pinching so that it'll fit in the crack above your heart. Also, press downward from the top to create the curve above the heart. This will make it fit more nicely. After you've made a snug little cap above your heart, trim the excess off from the top. In this tutorial, I keep the space thin because I wanted the hearts close together in the pattern. For the corners, I'm taking a right triangle and cutting off a small piece and sticking it right on. And with the leftover piece, I do the same thing for the left side. Be sure to take the time to press each piece in order to minimize air gaps. For the bottom half of the heart, I'm taking another solid rectangle cane and butting it right up against the heart, which makes things easy, and just like that, I cut off the excess so that it becomes more of a square shape. And I just play with the remaining piece to see if it fits. And if it does, I just stick it right on and cut off the excess. I also recommend adding a thin border around it all, which helps smooth out the seams to allow for more even reduction. If the borders are a bit uneven, you can always trim the sides that have too much packing clay to even them out. And here we have our pretty little chunky hearts. You have the option of using them as is, maybe shrinking them as beads, using them as tiles to decorate other objects, making coasters, jewelry. The sky is the limit. But also, let me show you guys how you can turn these tiles into cute little heart patterns. Reduce your heart tiles into 4-inch length canes that you will then slice in half. Rearrange the pieces so that the colors are arranged how you want them. Next, divide the cane evenly into 3 sections. You can use centimeters and make them each about 1 centimeter plus 6.5 out of 10, since there are 10 lines in the ruler. And then I like to stagger the row of hearts into a staircase-like structure. Move the pieces from the left and stick them onto the right to make straight edges, forming a perfect rectangular shape. Add a thin border around your cane. In the reduction process, sometimes the clay on the outside will thin out faster than the clay in the middle. Place a sheet of tracing paper and, using your fingers or a clay tool, smooth out the seams. Reduce your cane until you get it long enough to cut in half. Stack them one on top of another and continue to reduce until it's long enough to cut into 4 pieces. Combine them all together to create a heart pattern block. In this video, the cane I made was a bit on the shorter side. This can make it hard to cut slices, especially if you have a larger cane. One trick you can do is take a solid block of color and just add it to the back. This gives you more surface area for the cane to grip, which allows for a more smoother slicing experience. And then after you've made your slices, you can piece them together to create larger sheets as veneers and patterns. You can attach them to glass containers or other bakeable vessels to add some love and charm to your items. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more caning tutorials in the future. I really appreciate y'all's love and encouragement, and I'll see y'all next time.